So back to Maya, now we can finally start animating. And we're gonna start with our first pose, which is the contact pose. And before doing that, I like to spend a few minutes as well setting up a small few bits in here, which is mainly the hand poses. As you can see here, we have a pretty neutral hand poses, which is okay, but I find it quite distracting. So for that, this is a Studio Library, which I highly recommend, especially to storage like both poses and animation clips. And for that, I spend some time and I create like a really basic, like simple fist pose, making sure the fingers, there's no gaps in between them, they're nicely posed and stuff. And because this cycle is symmetrical, we can use the mirror tool for running both, and with 2 clicks we have both hand poses sorted. Same we can do for the hair. I mean, you can leave it as this is, but yeah, I feel because it has really nice deformation, we can take advantage of that, and create like a bit more like appealing pose. I think it's gonna look really good for the silhouette of the character. And once we had that, one last bit is these 2 straps here for the sword. So we can switch that to world space and give them like a very basic like posing like this, and it's gonna make them feel way more natural. So maybe something like that. Let's see, yeah, something like that, we don't need to worry too much about that, as we'll tackle that later on once we cover the secondary motion. And once we have all this, we can start with the cycle. In this case, I like to do the translation split from the rotation, so I like to do the rotation on the hips control and the translation on the overall body control. Again, this is obviously up to you. You don't have to do this way. At the end of the day, it's different approaches, but I like to do this when I approach cycles. I think for me it's very handy, and it's good to have them both separate. So once we have this, what I like to do though with the master control is just give an overall kind of like rotation on the body. So I like to lean it a bit forward, same with the chest a bit, maybe back a tiny bit, or to set a bit the overall tone. We have this, which is good, and then we can like start with the contact pose, which, as we remember from the previous chapter, is when the body like start dropping a bit. So maybe let's see something like this. Actually, let's go a bit lower. Yeah, like something like this. And once we have this, we can move into the rotation. In this case, we're gonna, let's say, move with the left foot forward and right foot backwards, just to like define which direction we're gonna play with the rotation. So here, the Y is gonna favor always, the foot forward, and then same with the tilt, like this, something like that. We don't want to go too crazy. Once we had that, let's move into the left foot, which is the forward one. So we want this foot, okay, so this is a good example of, I forgot about the pole vectors. So some people like it in local, some people in world space. I like them pretty much set on in world space, move them a bit far from the body, so that way we avoid these reverse legs and we don't have to worry about them much. So once that's sorted, we can go back to our leg, almost a straight leg in here, something like this, and then we give a nice rotation, not too much, because this character, as you can see, has quite long foot, so we don't want to go crazy with that, and we can give a bit of like drag in here. And now we go back to the other pose, maybe something like this, and then with the toe roll, we get a really nice silhouette. We have a really nice balance between the both contact points of the foot and the center of gravity of the character, which is what we want to achieve in this first contact pose. So arm from the front on the foot, we want to avoid having this much gap, so let's open a bit the pole vectors and let's bring them a bit in. What we can do is like find a nice number, maybe something like that, 0.045, and we can copy that, something like that. You see, that's good. We open a bit the foot to get a bit more like variation, and then I like to get a little tilt like this inwards, because then when we plant boom, you know, we go back to 0 and it adds a bit more texture to the animation. So once we had that, with the lower body, we can move into the torso, in this case. And for that, what we're gonna do is, if you remember from the previous chapter, if the left foot is forward, then we have the right hand forward. So that means the chest is gonna like follow that, so something like that. And then we can add a bit of like tilt, you know, which is gonna be good. And I think, yeah, the chest looks good like that. So that should be enough. Yeah, it's nice. We can add as well on the head before moving to the arms. I don't want to worry too much about the tilt and the side to side, because it's going to be very subtle in this cycle, as we want to like keep it quite contained. What I'm going to do is just focus on the x-axis. So right now it's looking a bit too much up, so I'm going to bring the head quite down like this, and I think it's going to give the character more personality. It's going to look like more focused to where he's going. Once done, we can move into the arms. So let's bring them both down, maybe something like that. We can move into the front view. There's a nice space here. And then the right hand is going to be forward. So maybe something like this. So in this case, the character, I want to like have a nice swing back and not going too far like forward, you know? So more like this. I think it's going to give a nice personality to it. We add a bit of motion in the forearm and on the hands. And one of the things I like to do here is as well not only Y and C, but also X. So when it goes forward, we rotate inwards, something like that. And when this one goes back, we rotate outwards, something like this. We move this a bit up and forward, and then this one up and backwards. And the same, we rotate this one quite back, and we drag nicely the forearm a bit, something like this. Same with the hand. Let's see how it looks. Maybe we can relax a bit the arm. Yeah, and let's check the other arm again. Yeah, I think that looks quite nice. I'm gonna bring it a bit back. Yeah, oops, sorry. And there you go. And with this, I think I'm pretty happy with this first pass for the contact pose. This is as well, as a tip, we always want the blocking obviously to have like really nice and solid key poses, but a nice rule is never get attached to them, because as we evolve during the animation process, you know, like going to blocking plus spline, refine, the animation is going to evolve and those poses are going to change a bit. We're going to start like offsetting different controllers, pushing some parts, reducing some other like values, rotations, translation. So yeah, let's make a solid blocking, but don't get too attached to it because it's going to change. So once we have this, which is the contact pose, which I'm pretty happy with it. Actually, I realize this one, I think I'm gonna actually open up a bit more like that. I'm gonna reduce it quite a bit. Yeah, something more like this. I think I like the more. We can select everything. Set key. We set evenly spread across the timeline the key. So if we do every 3 frames, it's gonna be 24. Let's try that. Then we'll see, you know, once we have all the key poses, if it's too fast, if it's too slow, and we can every time that. And if we go here to the middle one, we can like press the mirror button. It should do some magic like this, which is great. Just realized this one got messed up. There you go. And now we have our 2 key poses. Boom, 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 which is great. So this is a nice start. And now we can move into our like passing pose. I like to use the step preview when I like, you know, checking the animation, but when we're going back into keying, I disable that so we get the interpolation and we get some information for free from Maya. So back into the passing pose, here the main point obviously is like the hips of the character, you know, and the center of gravity is going up. So let's select everything and let's key. Cool. And now we go in here and we go up quite a bit. So maybe something like this, a bit more. Yeah, maybe something like this. You can see here, nice, going up and down. It's good. Then if we go into the front, this is where the right foot is going to be passing, so it's going to be in the air, and the left foot is going to be the only supporting foot. So we want this to go a bit on the side, maybe not that much, something like that, you know. So we have a nice shift on the weight. It's going to be on the downward, it's going to be the maximum, but here, still like before coming back, it's going to still have some residual like amount on the shift. Then the rotation. So for that, let's see the hips here. There you go. So the rotation here is gonna start switching, but it's gonna favor a bit to the right side. Boom. And here is when we have the nice tilt in here. Because as we saw in the previous chapter, here's when the supporting leg absorbs all the weight, so boom, the hips, you know, going up. The maximum is gonna be here during the down, but here still is gonna be this nice line, and that's gonna like help us with the nice contrapposto with the torso, you know. So here the torso is gonna have, yeah, so a bit of, we can give a bit of drag going low, and then we're gonna have this nice tilting here, something like this. And the same, we can like, we're gonna start rotating the torso, boom, into the other direction. Yeah, that's good. Let's increase a bit more the tilt, a bit more. There you go. And then we can move into the legs. So let's start with the left leg first. So for that, if we check the notes, it's like fully planted, so we can like 0 rotate X, C, toe, and toe roll, you know. And a nice rule of thumb is like to have the leg, you know, the supporting point of the leg aligned with the torso. So it was pretty much there. We just need to move it a bit forward like that. And as we can see here, the leg is not completely straight yet. So we can increase a bit the up, you know, or we can play, for example, a bit of the up and a bit on the tilt like that. There you go. Now it looks much better. Boom. That's cool. Boom. And now if we move into the left leg, no, so here, first, we're gonna like remove the rotation. So we start with a clean foot, you know, raise a bit. Let's go into the switch position in here. And now we're going back. We rotate quite a bit, you know, taking care, as we said before, being a bit careful, you know, with the foot because you're quite long, and then we drag a bit the foot like this. Yeah, something like that, maybe a bit more forward. Yeah, something like that could be fine. And one of the things we want to do here is like take the opportunity, you know, and the as we said as we saw in the reference, to give a bit of like more texture on the feet and give like a bit of side to side motion. So here we can open a bit this, you know. Yeah, maybe a bit less, maybe something like that. Yeah, and we can as well open a bit in here, the rotate Y a bit upwards, boom, like that, and then it comes inwards, boom, and closes. Yeah, something like that. That looks cool. Yeah, and then we can move into the arms. So for the arms, where I have this one here, I think that I like to do as well in here is check I can bring the graphator here. For example, I can open here so we can see, you know, on the rotations how are we doing. So here what we want is like favoring a bit, you know, tiny bit the contact position. This is going back, but it's quite center in this regard. But we want a nice drag here on the forearm and on the arms. There you go, something like that. I think that is cool. And then if we look from the front, Yeah, let's drop the shoulder a bit, because as the body is going up, the shoulder is gonna go down. Boom. Same with the head, you know, goes up, so the head goes down, and we can do the same with the chest, as we did here a bit. We can increase a tiny bit more. That's good. And then we check the X. It should be start opening a tiny bit. See, yeah, like this, you know, start opening a tiny bit, which is good. So that arm is sorted. Let's double check the forearm. The nice, yeah, you see the nice dragging here. That's good. And then we can move into the right arm. So here the same. We wanna like drop this shoulder a bit. With a bit forward. Keep the arm quite like center. And then this one quite in the middle. Same with this. And then the mainly the Y rotation here. When it's going up, back, sorry, we wanna open a tiny bit more. You know, boom, and then it goes in. You know, it goes upwards, boom, like that, and then goes a bit inwards, boom. And same with the forearm. If we check the forearm here, we're gonna have a tiny bit of dragging here, boom. Something like this. Maybe a bit more. Exaggerate a tiny bit, and same with the wrist. Yeah, and I think that looks quite happy with that. Boom, you can see here the weight shift as well, how all the weight is like getting into the supporting leg. So we can select everything, key, copy into the 18 and mirror the pose. We select these controllers, delete, there you go. And now if we check into step, let's close this, see how it looks. As you can see here, just with these two poses, we already have a, you know, a small feel of how the walk cycle is gonna look. You can see the nice drags on the arms. That's looking cool. Yeah, well, the only thing that is bothering me a bit is the speed at the moment. I feel it's quite fast, so I'm probably gonna like space a bit more the keys. And right now, if we're giving 3 frames between key poses, I'm gonna go 4. So that means 1 extra each. It's 32. So we move to this one, 16, 8, 24, 8. Well, let's see now. Yeah, much better like this. Yeah, I think that's looking quite nice. So yeah, now we have this, we can move into the both extremes, which are the down and the up. So we're gonna start with the down. Now here, as the name says, it's gonna be like the lowest point when it comes to the hips. So we can as well bring this graphator in here. So we have this visible now to double check we are doing the right thing. And yeah, we come here and we drop quite a bit actually, maybe not that much, like this. You can see here, it's like the lowest point, maybe something like that, which is good. And on the right thing, we want the maximum point. Boom. You see, drop and then start like going slowly back in. Boom. That's good. So that's one thing. And then we move into the hips, the rotation. For that, first the Y, you know, Y. And here, what we're gonna do is kind of like favoring a bit. So we want for the C though, this is when we get the maximum, boom, like weight shifting here. So because we get the maximum weight shift, we want this to get the maximum tilting here as well. Boom. Maybe that's a bit too much. Let's lower a tiny bit more, something like this. Boom. You see here, and then still high the tilt, but it's slowly coming back. Boom. That's good. So that's another thing here. Happy with the hips like that, and then we can move into the foot. So here the foot, we're gonna like fully planted, so we can kill all these values. Oops, not that one, sorry. That was there you go. this one, boom. Here, X, Z, and toe, boom. This, and then we can like check maybe a bit forward, tiny bit. You know, a good rule of thumb is like if you see the Y axis here from the gizmo, that the lower part of the leg is aligned with that. So that's good. Boom. Let's come in here. So that's it for this foot. And now if we move into the left one, the right one, sorry, this one is the tricky one, because this one is when it's starting to take enough, you know. So here, at least myself, I like to like get all this into 0, you know, maybe translation as well, and then we move it back, because we want, if we check the C, you know, we want this like a continuous line in here. So something around this, maybe a bit less. There you go, something like that. And then we want to, like, with the toe roll, I like to combine both the toe roll and the toe tip in here to kind of like get a nice like takeoff pose. So maybe something like this, and then something like that. Yeah, something like this. I think that looks quite fine to me. Yeah, something like that looks good. And then we can move into the arms. So for this, I like to like pretty much, because as we saw before, here is when in the like up and down, we're gonna favoring, you know, the extreme positions. So the contact. So here, for example, we can just come in here and we start like going back. So we can favor this quite a bit, you know. The C should be starting to go up, which is nice. And same with the X, that's good. And then if we check the forearm, here we should start having a nice drag as well. You see here, boom, nice drag in here. And same with the wrist. So come here, and the wrist starting to drag quite nicely. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, and now we can move into the other arm, which is the right one, and then we can do the same. So we come here into the graphator, you know, and favoring this quite a bit. Same with the elbow in here, and with the wrist. With the wrist, actually, I was looking at it, and I think that's good. Yeah, we'll play later on more with the X and C rotation, but for now, at the moment, it's like mainly the Y, the one that wants to get like nailed down. And then let's not forget about the shoulders. So the shoulders is like similar, you know, when it comes to like the rotation, we want to like favoring here quite a bit, and then the up and down, because here is going down, we're gonna like have quite like nice dragging here, boom, goes up. Same with the other one. So if we change here, we want the shoulder to go up, boom, and then yeah, that's good. And this one favoring a bit like this, boom. That's good. And then let's not forget about the chest. So for the chest, we want the rotation as well, favoring a bit, you know, the contact pose. And for the X rotation, we want to like drag as it's going down. We're gonna look at nice drag up here. It's gonna be nice. And same for the head. Nice dragging here. Boom. You can see here, that's why in the graphator how it drags, boom, and then boom, it drags in the other direction. It drags up, drags down, boom. And I think with that we cover nicely the down pose. We copy that into the frame 20 and we mirror. Sorted. And then the only one left is the up one, which if we did like we set up quite right the key poses. This one is pretty much done already here because it doesn't require that much tweaking. So we set key on everything, and then we go back into our like hips control, the body one, and here, as we said, it's like when it got into the highest point. So we can go like quite high like this. Yeah, something like that should be fine. And also the tilt, you know, is slowly like coming back, but less favoring a bit the before position. Boom. Okay, and now if we move into the rotation, we have this one is flowing nicely, as you can see here. So that means we did something right. Then on the C, we want still like increase a tiny bit the tilt. So you know we have this nice kind of like tilt. It kind of settle a bit and then goes a bit up before it start going down here. So that's really good. So that's another thing. Now there's a good opportunity as well to check, because we didn't pay much attention to the X rotation at the beginning, but one of the things is like when he's going down, we want this to kind of like going in like that, you know, like this direction. And then when it start like lifting until the up, and then going back here, we want to kind of like going up like this. So what we can do is like pick these two, drop them a bit, pick these two and drop them quite a bit, you know, and then we have a nice, you see, coming here, and the character goes forward, boom, and then slowly lifting, you know, the hips like that. Maybe what we can do is like this one, drop them quite a bit, boom. You see, and then we have a nice forward and backwards like rotation motion in the x-axis. So once we had that, let's go back to our like up pose and let's tackle the foot. Start with the left foot in here. So in this case, we pretty much have it in there already. Just like, is it the this one? I think looks quite good. Maybe a bit more back, you know. So we have a bit better line of action. And then what we can do is just increase a tiny bit the toe roll, because right now we have an overstretched leg. So a tiny bit until the leg, see, boom, is not overstretched. So that's good. Cool. And then if we check the left foot, we just need to tweak it a tiny bit on the side view in here. So yeah, let's bring it a bit closer. Boom. Drop, maybe actually a bit back. We can drag it a tiny bit. Same with the toe. We can lift it. Boom. And here, if we check that, what we want to do is like with this motion. Boom. Oops. See, here is a small mistake. In the down in here, boom, this should be flat as well, because it's still planted. Boom. So we want the same here. Down, boom, it's planted. Boom. So we want still the foot like in the same axis, in the same value. Lift, and then starting to come inwards. See, so it's planted in here, perfectly aligned, then opens up. Same with the rotation, and then it comes in. Boom. We can as well like tilt a bit inwards like this, and then boom, it opens. Boom. That's for the foot. We can move on to the torso now. So for the torso, pretty much, what is it? We want here a track down in here, because it's going up, you know, and then start going down. Boom. We're probably fine tweaking this properly later on, which is good. This one as well, more favoring this position, which is nice. And the tilt, something like this. Yeah. I think for the tilt maybe we exaggerated too much in here. I think what I want to have is the down when it has the highest. So what we can do is just like scale this a bit and scale the passing down a bit. Like this, boom, there you go. That looks better to me. And then we can move into the arms, you know, on the same for the arms. Here we want to favor this frame. This one looks fine. You can always favor it a bit more. This one looks fine to me as well. And same with the hand. We want kind of like nice dragging here in the favoring the back position here. You see, so we have a nice boom drag. And this one the same. Here actually I think we can get to the extreme on the wristing here, or very, very close. And maybe what I'm gonna do as well is this one is the middle one. I'm gonna pick both wrists and I'm gonna bring the middle one, just this and this two, a bit up. There you go. So it looks a bit more like natural if you see the dragging here. Boom, that's good. And then we move into the shoulders. You know, we have the nice okay, here a bit more like, yeah, down, and it's starting to go up, which is good. And then let's check the side to side. This one a bit more favoring this, and say in here. Yeah, that's another thing done. And then we move into the head. And here on the head, what we want to do is to double check that here is the maximum point of drag down. You can see, you see, boom, then it opens up, boom, and goes down. Let's remove this thing. There you go. Okay, let's see. Boom, it's flowing nice. So I think with that we cover pretty much our up position. We copy into the 28 and then we mirror the pose. Boom. Let's clean these small straps in here. And now we switch into a step and let's see how our cycle looks. There you go. So we have a nice motion. You can see on the feet, we can see nicely the little drag, you know, the overlap on the foot, on the toes, which is nice. Have a nice like overall motion. I like the pacing now with that like incremented like 8 frames, the timing. And the arms, we have a really nice like overlap motion, you know, with the drag on the forearms and the hands. So that's pretty cool. Good up and down. And yeah, I think I'm quite happy so far with this blocking. So yeah, I think with this we are ready to move into the next stage of the animation.